Happy Sunday, everyone. My name is Jonathan with Cinco Squad, and that is Mike DeSano with Cinco Squad. And this is
Hello?
The Rotation. What's
Yes.
going on, fellas? How you doing tonight? Mikey Mike and the Funky Bunch, what's going on?
Much. It's another week of exciting baseball across the MLB. I'm doing well, despite how our team is doing, but that's another story entirely. How are you?
I'm doing great. And that was one of my first questions for you. Other than the Yankees absolutely being abysmal, how has your baseball viewing been so far this week?
Good. I think, like we've talked about in previous episodes, previous weeks, there's a lot of good teams, a lot of exciting teams out there that
Yeah.
weren't really expected to be doing anywhere near as well as they are at this far into the season. I know long season, but we're a month in now, and there's some teams still hanging around. So I'm excited for the also crop of young talent that's come into the league in the recent couple years.
Yeah, there's a lot of young guys getting a lot of opportunities on a lot of
Yeah.
teams across the board. And it's great to see because it's like something that you and I talk about all the time is they're not ready. They're not ready. Well, when are they going to be ready, right?
Right.
Like the only way you can succeed in the league is if you actually play in the league. And like, yeah, you're going to have failures. Like I'm so glad they kept Brito up with the Yankees. Like because yes, he's going to have his ups and downs. Like you said, he was hit or miss. But if half his stuff is working and it's just mechanical stuff that they need to work on, that's very positive moving forward. That you weren't expecting this guy to be great, and all of a sudden you just got to work through a 162 game season. So, as we normally do every single week, we talk a little Yankees before we get into our 5 takeaways of the week. But Yankees are definitely. Oh man, they're frustrated.
Oh boy.
And I don't know if it's frustrating more about their play more than the injuries because right guys are starting to step up, but like this is what playoff baseball is about. Guys stepping up and make when the big guys aren't hitting. This is almost like kind of a tall tale to say what we've been seeing over the last few years. The guys that are the role players aren't being role players.
Yeah, I mean,
so what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so like the problem they run into right now, and I agree with you that the frustration is less. It is that they're losing because Yankees. We kind of have a high expectation of them every year, just because of past success, and that's not a gloat. It's just the kind of what Yankee fans have been conditioned to expect winning because they've won so much. So to our detriment in some respects, I think. But the problem right now is that the role players are being asked to be the big guys because the big guys are hurt. So yeah, the frustration really is the fact that there's 15 major league players on the IL right now. That's over half the roster. So there's been a lot of call for like, oh, see, they fire Aaron Boone. In this case, I was on the fire Boone train in the offseason. In this case, I really don't think it's his fault. At least not like 98 to 99% of it is not his fault. He's working with what he's got, which isn't much. He's missing half of what the team he's supposed to have. Yeah. I like that Harrison Bader came back. That's good. He's been great.
Pop.
Yeah, but
he batted over 400 in this series against the Rays, which is awesome. If you would have told me today that we were going into the Sunday of the Rays game and we had a chance to take the series, I would have, and Cole blew the game, I wouldn't believe you. That was surprising, but it was expected, right? Cole was going to lose a game at some point and going to ultimately, I don't think he lost the game. I think he had no decision on this one, but he was going to have some struggles. He can't be perfect every start, and we can't always rely on him like we did CC back in the day. So that's just the thing with these younger guys. And I'll get to it later in my takes, but yeah, I mean, I agree with you. You can't blame the manager on your star guys, but these Gleyber Torres, Harrison Bader, Anthony Rizzo, these guys got to step up. Bader did today, but the other two need to step up. Rizzo hit a home run today, but these guys are going to be playing. Willie Calhoun, he's a utility guy. IKF wants to prove himself. He needs to get back into his is swinging form last year. I think Trevino is still in the lineup. He needs to play well. Like, there are guys there, Mike, that can play baseball at a high level and have. So, realistically, what is going on? Like, why aren't you? Is it the bullpen? What is the main factor of this that they're not playing good baseball right now? It just doesn't make any sense because these are critical guys that were batting at a high level, playing a lot of good baseball. Volpe is starting to come into his own, but like, what's going on with the other guys? IKF wants a shot on this team. Aaron Hicks wants a shot on this team. Aaron Hicks hasn't looked good at all this year. It's been very frustrating.
No. Oh, absolutely. I think part of me wants to believe, and obviously I'm not in the locker room, I'm not in the clubhouse, I'm not in the dugout, I'm not on the field, so I don't really know 100%. Obviously,
not?
No, I'm not. Surprisingly, I should be. I know. I have a mind for the game, as they say.
Get Mike in the dugout.
Yeah.
Get Mike in the dugout.
Hey, I'll totally do it. But I would love that. And you're coming with me.
Woo!
Yeah. Team. What's gonna work? Teamwork.
Teamwork.
It's just I got to imagine from a mental perspective, this whole run has been a bit of a letdown between, your big guys that were performing well, like Stanton, Judge, the fact that your $160 million pitcher now has chronic back issues and might not be back until the end of the year. Your number 5 guy is all of a sudden continued to have shoulder injuries in the offseason. It's just Montas. The guy that was supposed to come over from Oakland and be, at least a good 4 or 5 guy to bolster the rotation. All these bullpen guys that have gotten hurt. I got to imagine it's like just compounding mentally, at least mentally and emotionally, compounding one thing. It's just not going their way. And now, like they say, fielding can lead to good hitting, and good hitting can lead to good fielding, stuff like that. It's just, I feel like they can't get out of their own way right now. And so is it that it's just between the injuries and blowing and like not being able to hold a lead recently, is it a mental thing? Are they in their own heads? Do they feel too much? Are they putting too much pressure on themselves to live up to what this team's supposed to be, instead of just going out there and play ball, be yourself, play your game? Like, I'm always a proponent of, if you play relaxed, right? Then your game will come to you.
Well, my biggest thing with that is like I get what you're saying, and I keep making the excuse it's only April, and now we're only in May, first full week of May, and it's like, okay, how many times am I going to say, okay, it's only May, it's only June,
right?
At some point or another, they got to start playing baseball. The Rays are playing phenomenal baseball right now. The Rays I don't have any doubts that they'll probably win the East at this point, and the Yankees will get a wild card spot again. But they could change it around, right? There's a lot of season left, but they got to start getting the guys. We're going to get Judge back here on Tuesday. Stanton's scheduled to come back at the middle of May, from what it sounds like. End of May. Sevy's doing AAA games right now.
Roughly the same timetable.
Same timeline, which is good, right? Like, you can throw, if I'm the Yankees, I'm liking that I have Brito on the bench, because what you do is you use him as a crutch for Sevy when he's in this game. You have Sevy throw 4 innings, and then you throw Brito out of the bullpen. Let him get some bullpen starts, because at the end of the day, that's where he's going to live anyways for right now, right? Or Herman. Or, Herman has been pitching great. I love it. But, yeah, I mean, ultimately it's early in the season, but there's a lot of concern, because this is the same concern that all Yankees fans have felt for the last 4 or 5 years, is that the role players are not stepping up. And these are guys that are kind of household names in New York right now. You got Gleyber Torres, who we've been waiting for him to have a season like 17 again, where he just hit the shit out of the ball.
Yep.
We're waiting for it. We're waiting for Hicks to get back to old form. We're waiting for IKF to be what he said he should be, right? So we're waiting, and personally, I'm just tired of waiting. Like, I told you this last year, like 1 through 4, I wasn't worried about in the postseason. But when we got 5 through 9, that loses you ball games easily.
Yep.
And that's going to lose you in the playoffs,
Yep. Yep.
But we can go on for days. I think, Mike, I'll let you make your last point, and then we can go on for days. But let you make your last point about the Yankees, and then we'll move on to the 5 takeaways of the week.
So for me, I like Torres. It's just kind of a response to that. I like Torres, and I think I told everybody, and you can attest to this because I said it, and you believe me. Not everybody believed me that when he moved back to second, the bat would come back at least a little bit. He moved to second. He had a better offensive year last year.
He's hitting the ball well, and don't get me wrong. Like, I don't think he's not playing well right now.
He just needs,
but something's not clicking when
right.
Yes. There's something not clicking, not just him. It's just all role player. I'm just using him as an example. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no. I was just saying, as far as the names you mentioned,
right?
I think I trust that to allow Torres to kind of, as they say, swing out of it, play out of it, just keep getting reps in, and I think he'll continue to get better. I think he continues to get better as seasons go on, as he gets more at bats and reps in the field and stuff. Hicks, I think it's time to move on. I just don't think. Unfortunately, I love Aaron Hicks. I love me some Aaron Hicks. Great arm.
I told you in college I did.
Yeah. It's just, I think he's a type of player that needs a new,
setting,
fresh scenery. Yeah. He just needs, he needs to go somewhere like, heck, put him in Oakland and just let him play. No expectations, no, no preconceived notions of how successful a team's supposed to be. Just let him play. IKF, I agree with you. I think he can still be a good utility player on this team. But yeah, I agree. He's showing the versatility of fielding. He just needs to hit.
Correct. And then we talked about this the other day. Is like, if you're not hitting, you got to play good defense. And he's been playing good defense. Center field has been, now Bader's back, right? So I think they moved him over to the left. But he's been playing good outfield, and it's good to see him in the outfield. It's good to see these guys. I'm not saying any of these guys suck. I love Aaron Hicks.
Right.
I told you in college I loved him as a player, but now I feel like he has a lot of pressure that if he makes the slightest mistake, he's looked upon. And he is. He's looked upon by 10 million people in New York City, by, the organization that's held up here, and every other team is here, right? So, it's just a different standard. But let's see if the boys can rally this week, and we'll come back next week, and hopefully we have some series win and have Aaron Judge back on Tuesday and whatnot. But Mike, let's get to our 5 takeaways, or should I say our rotation of the week.
I like that.
And see what's in store. I'll let you ride it first. So go for it.
Okay. So actually, I'm glad I get to go first this week, because my first one actually has a lot to do with what we just talked about in IKF's sense, which is versatility is becoming more often than not the name of the game for these players.
Yeah.
Take a look at some MLB rosters right now, right? And really, I bet you could only point to me 1 or 2 guys per team that don't play multiple positions during a season.
Yeah.
At least or haven't played more than one position in their careers. Right. I think it's becoming more and more valuable to these teams based on the fact that they have all these constant rotations. See what I did there? Of lineups and position players and stuff that you have to be able to play. If you're coming up as a younger player, you have to be able to play more than one spot. These franchises need to be able to plug you in somewhere. And so that's the big takeaway I've seen is more and more as I've watched baseball this year, I'm seeing more and more guys play different spots that they didn't play before.
Yeah, versatility is definitely big. I've been noticing that, and a lot of minor players have been saying, like, hey, you're a third baseman. No, I'm a baseball player right now. I don't know my position. I don't have a position. If they were to ask me to go play first, I'd learn it. If they were to ask me to play right, I just want to get a shot. And you want players like that, like Volpe. I'm sure if you said, Volpe, we're going to put you at third, and we got Oswaldo Peraza starting at short, I'm sure he'd be like, yeah, sure, wherever you want me.
All right, yeah, cool.
If we needed him at and that's just one Yankees guy, but like if you ask any of these guys, they're able to play. They're athletes now, right? Athletic guys. So I hear that 100%.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at, for example, one that comes to mind is, and I know it's less for his ability to be able to be plugged in and more for his health, but Bryce Harper's working his way back. He's only DHing right now, but he's been taking reps at first no Rhys Hoskins. They have a decent outfield already, and they want to be able to have him hold up a little longer per season than he has in a few seasons past. So they've been giving him a lot of reps at first. And it
Well,
looks
not
like they
only
may
that,
end up turning him into a first baseman.
well, not only that, they probably don't want him throwing right now as far in
Correct.
the outfield because of Tommy John surgery. He's
Correct.
the fastest person to come back from Tommy John surgery ever. So they're probably like, no, we're going to put you at first this year and not rush it. And next year, probably put you on the outfield. And like a lot of guys that have dead arms go to first because they don't have to throw the ball as much or at all at that point. So realistically, I hear what you're saying, but it's ultimately just because of the surgery. I don't think it's anything to do with him being, but I think he's open to it because he just wants to play, right? I get what you're saying with the versatility and whatnot. So
whatever you need me to do. A guy like Bryce Harper is still saying whatever you need me to do.
Yeah. So I mean, that's big. That's big for sure. My takeaway this week is not really a takeaway about baseball. It's about who we lost in baseball. We just got the news this morning is Vida Blue passed away at age 73. He's a 3-time World Series champion, a Cy Young winner, 6-time All-Star, an MVP, and won the ERA title. He finished his career with 209 wins, 161 losses, a 3.27 ERA, and he had 2,175 strikeouts. That is a hell of a career, Hall of Fame career, 100%. I don't know if he is in the Hall of Fame.
I don't think he is.
I don't think so, but that's definitely a Hall of Fame career for sure.
I agree.
2,000 strikeouts, but yes, he passed away today at the age of 73. And it's rest in peace to him, and thoughts and prayers and condolences are to his family. And just always want to make a takeaway of the week is seeing a legend pass away. It's always a tough feat. And actually, ironically, I just watched a documentary on Reggie Jackson on Amazon Prime, and if you haven't watched it, it's actually really good. So, and he was in it. So if you get a chance, go on there and watch it. It's I watched it, and he was in it, talking with Reggie and everything like that. So, just wanted to give my condolences and to a legend of the game.
Yeah, 100%. Phenomenal pitcher. Like when you texted the group chat this morning, letting us know the news, my response was he was a great pitcher, and from all accounts I've heard, a great person, which is awesome.
Right.
He is not in the Hall of Fame. He fell off the ballot because of low vote total in 1995. I wouldn't be surprised if the next time the committee that would cover his era meets, he may end up getting a lot of love. Unfortunately, now that he's passed. But yeah, condolences to, his family and friends and loved ones. Lost a great man. Like you said,
great
legend
person.
of the game, great person, an impactful pitcher on some very good A's teams. And so, yeah, prayers and thoughts out to his loved ones.
Rest in peace and condolences to his family.
Yeah, absolutely.
So moving on to your second take of the week.
My second take of the week is that I know we're only a month into the year, but the NL East may end up only having one successful team this year. And that would be the Atlanta Braves. No, I'm sorry. The Atlanta Braves. A division that going into the season, including the Miami Marlins, we thought might have 4 really good teams. I mean, obviously the Nationals being were considered an outlier. They're still rebuilding and kind of building their roster back up. But outside of them, I really thought that those other 4 teams, Phillies, Marlins, Braves, and Mets, were all gonna be good. And so far, it's just been the Braves. So I don't know.
Remember something about this. So last year, the Braves were in the same position as the Phillies. Close to it. And the Phillies were in the same position as they were last year and came back up from them. So there's a lot of baseball left. I think a lot of them will get their shit together. Verlander's now back with the Mets. Bryce Harper's back with the Phillies. I know there's only 2 players, but they're critical players that bring a lot of pop to the bat. Schwarber's starting to hit the ball better. Pitching is starting to come around. I see that. I see your point on that because it's like not looking good right now, but I see a couple teams coming out of that division this year. Because the rest of the divisions are really low. It seems like they're, you got Pittsburgh leading the Central. Dodgers just passed the Diamondbacks this week to lead the West. So it's up in the air. I mean, I hear you though. It's very I would say concerning because they put all this money. The Mets have the highest payroll with.
Yeah.
I think the Mets have like what $400 million invested per year into players.
Close to, yeah.
and this is how they perform. It's kind of sad, It's ultimately Mets baseball, unfortunately. But the Phillies surprised me, right? Like I thought, okay, they got, but he started seeing guys go down. It's like what's going to happen? Is it the first month of the year? They're gonna bounce back up. We'll see. We'll see going into May. We'll see if we're having the same conversation in May. Might be a little bit more competitive in May, but yeah, the Braves are playing good baseball right now. And what's his face? That you said, what is up with him? I know it was your first week, and you were saying, forget his name for the Braves. Where's all the neon green?
Oh, Marcell Ozuna.
Marcell Ozuna started. He must have heard you, Mike. And he must have heard you because he was like, he hit the shit out of that ball. Remember I sent that to you? Yep. He crushed it. And I think it almost hit the glass. I think it was like 472. It was incredible. So yeah, I mean, I can see your point on that. It's a toss up for that division, in my opinion, right now. But I hear what you're saying about the Braves running away.
Yeah,
with it.
It's just the way things have turned out to start the year. It's the Braves are pulling away right now. So
real quick,
you better, I guess, for an analogy, the Braves train's pulling away for the rest of the division. You better find a way to hop onto one of the cars, or you're going to be left in the dust.
Yeah, because the rest of the teams are 7, 7, and 8. I mean, everyone's in the hunt right now for second.
Right.
I mean, even the Nationals are in the hunt. They're only 3 back of the Mets.
Right.
So that division's very tight, and then you got the Braves out here like sailing.
I was going to say, like, it's the Braves, and then everyone else. Nice Sticks reference. I like it.
You're welcome.
The rotation, we're bringing sticks into the rotation because they hit with sticks. Get that? Got that, everybody? Like that's fun. All right. Anyway, what's yours?
My second take is Mr. Paul Goldschmidt. He had a 3-run home run game today, and he had 3 400-plus foot home runs, I should say. Incredible. The dude is just a monster of a baseball player. He's batting .321, hitting 7 home runs, 20 RBIs, and his OPS is .991 right now. And that's a month into the season. He was going through a little slump, and this is broke a game. Actually, this game is kind of what the Cardinals needed. They were in an 8-game slump, and they needed this to come back, and really have a good jolt. But wow, it's just this guy sees the ball like it's a beach ball coming.
Pro hitter,
like he just
pro hitter.
He's just exactly. It's just incredible in my opinion.
We were talking during the WBC, like if there was one of the main guys off that team I would want for the Yankees is Paul Goldschmidt, because he just I mean, you can see it in the WBC too. He just finds ways to get hits, and it's not even like he hits homers. Don't get me wrong. He's got good pop, but it's not like he goes up trying to hit a home run. He's just trying to get a hit. I mean, we've seen him check swing, sawed off, just shoot one into right center. Yeah. Just because he put his bat in the right spot.
But he's strong too, right? He's a strong guy. He's very built. He's a built guy. So he hit. It's just incredible to see the guy hit the ball. It makes it looks like the game is so easy. He slows it down for himself. Mm-hmm. And watching him in WBC even more, because I don't get many Cardinals games. I don't get many baseball games at all. But
well, we've been through
that's another topic. 77,000 people think the same on TikTok. But
yep.
But it's just concern. It's just a very awesome thing to see. It's like watching him play is fun to watch, right? It's like going back to the days of the steroid era, watching McGuire hit the ball out of Busch Stadium and everything like that. So it's really cool to see him do that.
Yeah, I agree. It's it's a very amazing thing to watch a hitter when you find a hitter like that just like you said makes it look so easy and slows it down so much. It's fascinating no matter what team you root for to watch that guy play. And
Right.
he's no slouch on defense either. He's pretty good first baseman. So
Gold Glove first baseman, 100%.
Yeah. So they got themselves a good guy over there.
All right, what's your take?
Well, oddly enough, you and I seem to be on a bit of a wavelength today. Because
Nolan Arenado?
No, but my next takeaway is a question, which is: are the Cardinals really this bad? Outside of Arenado and Goldschmidt, are they really this bad? I mean, I know they get the win.
I think we've had this on the show a couple times now about the Cardinals, and it's they're just not playing good baseball. Really, realistically, they're not. Their bullpen is what's failing them. It looks like. I mean, as a team right now through April, let's see. I got the ERAs up right now. I mean, they're let's see, as a team. I mean, they're top 20 in ERA, but their ERA is 4.25 a game. Throughout the whole team. So, but I mean, I don't know, man. It's interesting because they're in the same position they were last year, and then they just caught fire in July and August, and that's where you typically catch fire for a lot of these teams. And that's why I'm kind of holding off a little bit of, if we get through July and you're still in the same position, you're done for the year, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, 100%.
There's no real chance for you to come back unless you're like that Mets team that blew a 13-game lead and missed the playoffs. I hate the shit on the Mets because I have no hatred against. I have no hatred against the Mets.
No, neither do.
But
neither
like
do
that, everything. I mean, they do it to themselves ultimately because like they had that 13-game, and it's like the Braves needed them to lose every single last game, and they won. And then the Braves went on to make the playoffs,
right?
And win the East.
There was one scenario that needed to happen, one single scenario that could possibly happen that would put the Braves over the Mets, and that's what happened. It was astounding to watch.
I'm not worried about the Cardinals right now. I think that they'll find it. I think Wainwright will end up being who Wainwright is, second half pitcher. He's been a second half pitcher his entire career. He's never been a really good first half pitcher.
Yeah.
They'll figure out their bullpens. I think they'll make some trades at the deadline for bullpen help and a starting pitcher. But yeah, I'm not worried about them.
Yeah, it's just when you see 11 and 24, that just kind of pops out, especially when you see 11 and 24 next to St. Louis Cardinals. Based on how they usually are, it's like, what's going on there? Like, is something wrong? So, I mean, I hope so because I like, baseball's better when the Cardinals are good usually. So,
yeah, I agree.
What you got?
My third is a comparison to the NFL. Is the AL Central equivalent to the NFC South, where a team probably shouldn't get in the playoffs, but they have to because a division winner will get in the playoffs?
I guess I personally will kind of spin it on kind of what you said before, which is like, I think someone will figure it out at some point. Now, I think they're probably only going to put one team into the playoffs, and that's the division winner. But
right. But my comparison is like we had this on our Thursday show talking about how like no team should deserve to be in a playoff. Is that kind of what the AL Central is right now?
I guess in the sense that the Twins appear to be the Saints. In that, like, okay, they'll win. They'll win because they'll win just enough games.
Buccaneers. Yeah, the Buccaneers will just. It's just like kind of the Buccaneers are like, all right, they got Tom Brady. They'll do what they got to do, and I feel like that's with the Twins. They picked up some good rotation. They'll do what they have to do, and they'll sneak into the playoffs by winning their division. But for me, it's like, does anybody in that division really deserve it? Like, because the Guardians are playing good baseball, but they've also had a lot of losing streaks. The White Sox have been abysmal. I think the Tigers are in that division. They're nothing to write home about. But it's like who do you and then the Royals, right? And it's that's like all needs to be. Do you really want them in there, but I don't know. That's why I was looking at. I was looking at the standing. I was like, damn, this reminds me of so much of the
Yeah,
NFC South in football.
I see what you're driving at. Because yeah, actually, so the Twins are like the Buccaneers, right? Where they pick up all these veterans, and it's like, they'll do what they got to do to be successful. And then the Guardians are more the Saints, actually, where it's like normally they're the best team in the division. Normally they end up winning enough games to get into the playoffs
Right.
and deserve it. But every so often, like it may be this year, they're not.
All right.
They're just bad.
they're very bad.
They're very bad.
But the Guardians do it to themselves ultimately. And Mr. Trey Day will give his testament on that if we get him on the show here. You know, they just don't put good. They have good talent, all right. Like they've had great talent. They've had CC. They had, I think, they've had David Ortiz, I believe. No, Manny Ramirez, right?
Manny Ramirez.
They had
Ramirez,
got Gio Urshela, Lindor. They've had all these guys come through the organization. It's just they can't hang on. They can't afford them. They don't. Yeah. They don't want to pay them the big bucks. So that's mine. What is your fourth one?
My fourth take is that right now it appears that Arizona is good, but LA is still better.
Yeah. In Arizona, getting rid of Bumgarner was have they gotten rid of him yet?
Yeah, I believe they cut him. Yes.
They okay. So like,
I believe
getting rid of him and like he was their worst player. Like it was good to see him get off, but and it's fun to see Arizona competing. I hate when teams just sit in the dumpster of the leagues and just sit there. I love seeing that competitive, like, why do you want to continue? If I'm an owner of a team, why do you want to continue to be at the bottom? And why are you settling for the bottom? I understand you probably can't compete payroll, but you are competing payroll. You're just paying the wrong guys. But it's great to see, like, kind of like the David and Goliath, like Diamondbacks versus the Dodgers. Who would have thought in the West right now? Like, you would have thought like Padres, Dodgers, or Giants, Dodgers at the beginning of the year.
Giants, Padres.
Yes.
Anybody except for Colorado and Arizona.
Right. So it's like, it's good to see Arizona competing. It's like that Giants team a couple of years ago who won the division, ended up flaking out in the first round of the playoffs. Right. But it's good to see them competing. It's good to see a different name at the top, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's just now that over this last week, like you said earlier, the Dodgers have now jumped the Diamondbacks for the division lead. I think we're starting to see that kind of Arizona has built a very good team. Yeah. And they've built a very good young developing team, but the Dodgers are now kind of starting to show that they're still a bit better. They're still the class of the West. Yeah. You're like, all right, kid, you did good, but now it's time. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what this Dodgers team feels like right now. Is like, all right, you had your April fun. Now it's time for the big boys to actually, play this division.
But I'm saying this Arizona team reminds me of that Giants team who ran away with that 100%. Division like a couple years ago. And I mean, I ended up getting bounced out, like I said, but it reminds me of them. Like, they're going to keep, like, we said that. I think we said that, like, a couple times, during that season, like, oh, the Giants are going to fall off. And like, they just kept winning, and they're going to fall off. And it's just like, they never did. So, So yours is the Diamondbacks. So the Diamondbacks, right?
The Diamondbacks are good. The Dodgers are still better.
The Dodgers are better.
The Dodgers. What you got for four?
My fourth is the hitting has been explosive this year. Like, crazy hitting this year. Like, let me give you a stat right now. So through April last year, the total home runs was with – let me go to 2022 real quick. Sorry.
Yeah. So
last year, through April, the Toronto Blue Jays and the New York Yankees were leading the league in home runs with 29 and 30. So Yankees had 29, Toronto had 30. Okay. This year, the Tampa Bay Rays and the San Francisco Giants lead the league with San Francisco at 46.
What?
And Tampa at 59 home runs in April.
Jesus.
We are set to break some records. And, like, the Dodgers, we got the Braves, the Dodgers, the Angels, Yeah, I mean, Yankees aren't even in there. I mean, they're 14th right now with 32. So it's like crazy that like so many teams. So I'm looking right now, 17 teams, including the Blue Jays, are above what last year's total were. 2 are tied. So if you want to go with the tying, 18 or 19 teams. It's incredible. They're just the ball looks
Yeah, that's
apparently
nuts.
is looking so like a beach ball to a lot of these guys, and they're hitting so many home runs. And I know we can't always attest a team off home runs, but I mean it's pretty impressive when I saw that number.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I did not realize. I knew that a lot of teams were on pace for a good amount of home runs. I knew there were a lot
Right.
more home runs going out. I did not realize it was that much of a difference.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's
about
crazy. And
29.
I would say new rules, but I don't know what new rule other than maybe the pitch clock rushing some pitchers that aren't used to it, but still still got to hit the ball. They say one of the hardest things in sports, if not the hardest thing to do in sports, is to hit the baseball. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
Deion
100%.
Sanders said that, who played, at the highest level in two
He's a freak
sports.
of nature.
Yeah. So you think if anybody
And
could do it,
baseball was his first love too. So
yeah, yeah. And
all
Shannon
right.
Sharp asked him, like, "Oh, what's the hardest sport you ever had to play?" And didn't even skip a beat. He's like, "Baseball."
He says that in his documentary I watched on 30 for 30 primetime. He says
Yeah,
the same thing. Baseball is the hardest sport I've ever played. Football is easy because he can run. He just uses his athleticism
right.
and beat everyone. Where baseball, you literally can do it on the base pass and do it on the field, but you have to get on base, and that's the
Right.
hardest thing to do. So, all right, Mikey, take us away with your Cinco take of the week.
My Cinco take of the week is something that I think you and I can both agree on, and I think the baseball world can agree on, which is already, no matter what happens for the rest of this season, the best story of the 2023 MLB season is Liam Hendricks.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean, seeing him pitching,
I don't
is
care
he
what else
double A?
happens.
He's a double A right
I
now,
think
right?
I think he's working in Double A right now to build back up.
Dude,
But
it's an incredible story. If you haven't
yeah,
heard it, go out to ESPN and just type it into Google, watch the
you'll
story.
find
Liam
it. Yeah.
Hendricks beat cancer's ass, fuck cancer, and said, screw it. I'm beating this motherfucker and I'm gonna be back on the field. So hats off to him.
Mm-hmm.
Just for that, if the Yankees don't win the World Series, I'd love to see Liam Hendricks hoist that trophy at the end of the year. Hoist Cy Young. Like it's an incredible story. And I wouldn't even care if he played baseball again. I would just love to hear that he beat it. When I see someone beat it, it's just, it makes me feel so great. Makes me feel motivated. Like when my day's going tough, I'm like, it's not going nearly as tough as theirs. And like that motivates me to say, push harder. And because that guy's doing it.
Right, exactly. No, it's I don't care, and that's the thing that occurred to me when I was putting my takeaways together. I don't care what else happens. I don't even care if the Yankees win the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
I will take the Yankees not winning the World Series for Liam Hendricks to beat cancer. That is fine by me. I do not care. This is the story of the season. This
100%.
is the biggest moment of this season, bar none. I don't care what anyone else says.
It was like Trey Mancini. Didn't Trey Mancini do the same?
Yes.
So it's like those guys, like it was like a bittersweet because it was Houston in the World Series, but I was like, let's do it for Trey. Like I was so motivated to see him do well, and it's good to see him, in Chicago, as a utility role. But yeah, I agree with you, bro. Like it's 100%. I agree with you on that. Like it's an amazing story. If you haven't checked it out, go to Google, type in Liam Hendricks. There's a whole story on it.
Yes.
And and his family's awesome. Been awesome through this whole process. The Chicago White Sox organization has been absolutely incredible through this whole thing. So hats off to Liam Hendricks, and I hope he just has a great MLB career and just a great life, ultimately.
Absolutely.
And it never comes back.
Exactly. Absolutely. I completely agree. What you got for 5 to round us out?
How can I follow that up? I should have went first. We should have ended with that. What the hell? Now I'm like, all right, well, I guess, and my fifth is this. Well, to my point number 4, last year through April, the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Yankees led the MLB in ERA with 2.29 and the Yankees at 2.70. 2 runs a game, not bad, right?
Right.
This year, it's gone up a whole run and a half to 3.21 by the Tampa Bay Rays and 3.24 by the Houston Astros. So you can say that the pitching changes has been affected by the pitch clock because we're not seeing as many hits, and the hitters are adjusting more than the pitchers. It seems like definitively.
Yeah.
I mean, the ERAs are up. In this case, you want the ERAs low. You don't want them high. It's like golf. You want the lowest score. Right. So I found that very, and I know everyone's probably going to look at this and say, "Oh, it's only a run." Run means a lot. Run loses a game. 3 runs a game is a lot. That you get off to a bad start, 3-0, 3-0, and boom. And remember, there's only 12 teams with a 3 or under, or a 3 like 3.99 and under.
Right.
The rest are at 4, 5, 6, 7 like per game. So there's only 12 teams that are, pitching at a 3 ERA. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a testament to the increase in offense this year. Is teams are on average giving up a whole run or more than they did last year or in years past. And these are good pitching teams.
Right.
Like the Rays and Astros are good pitching teams, and they're giving up over 3 runs a game.
The Rays are 28-7.
Right. And they're still giving up 3 runs over 3 runs a game. Right. Which is you'd think at that record, you think they're below a 2 normally.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. They're especially the Rays. The Rays have always been one of those teams that they'll win 2-0, 2-1, 1-0, 3-2, something like that. No, they're winning like 11-1, 11-2, or like 7-5 or 8-7. 8-7.
Walk off today.
Yep. But besides that. Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible how much the offense has increased.
And has it been because of the pitching change? Because pitchers have to be quicker. In my opinion, I thought that a lot of pitchers would like it more, so they don't have to sit there and do a whole big windup. A lot of the guys like to have a shorter windup, but I mean, I thought for the the younger guys, it should be better. For me personally, I think it's going to get lower, obviously, but seeing that is like, damn. And then seeing the 59 home runs that the Rays have this year, it's like to the 30 that were last year in April. And we thought last year was a monster year for home runs. We thought the ball was flying out of the park then. I mean, now this year it's like it's flying out even more. Pitchers are pitching even worse. And like it seems like teams can't get this whole pitch, like new pitch count, pitch everything, pitch clock, everything figured out.
Disengagements, all that.
Yeah. They can't figure out all this stuff. And I don't think the umpires can too. Right. I don't think a lot of the umpires can figure out a lot of this stuff too. And that's not to just go out and rant about that, but ultimately I think that's something that we, we'll see during the season through the growing pains. But Mikey, week 4 for us, episode 4 for us. I think week 7 or 8 in the MLB season. But
I believe so, yeah.
Great start to the year. We love baseball. That's why we're doing this show. Comment below. Let us know what your thoughts are and what your takes are. We love to hear your takes. Tune in every Sunday, as this will drop every Sunday. Remember, we're on Thursdays at Cinco Squad. Make sure you tune in on the social platforms below. And we'll see you guys next week. Mike, any final thoughts?
Yeah, it's we're a little over a month into the year now, and so I think we're really going to start seeing a pickup in the intensity of the game and the importance of maintaining your spot in the standings as we get into the race. So I'm very excited because we're getting really close to the dog days of summer, and that's when baseball gets good.
We're gonna be with those guys in the dog days of summer, with every single week with Cinco Squad, the rotation with Mike and John. We'll see you guys next week. Make sure you tune in and follow below. See you.